Alright, what's going on, guys? Today we are back on Borderlands 3, and I'm excited. I have a brand new gun damage Amara build to show you guys. Now, this build works around the Death's Blessing and Fracture as your action skill. So, if you guys enjoyed and are excited to see this build, please hit that like button down below. I have put a lot of time and effort into making this build as perfect for you guys as possible. That's what has taken me so long to upload this, is I've been working every single day trying to find the most optimal skill trees and weapons to use for this build, and I would just really appreciate any support you guys could give me. Comment down below what other types of builds you would like to see and what other characters, and with that, we're just gonna get right into this. Now, I'm running a Death's Blessing with +3 in Wrath and +1 in Remnant. Your other ability, so Skill, I believe is what it's called, or in the purple tree. What's it called? Atman. It boosts your skill damage. So if you want it there, that's fine. If you want +2 in Remnant, that's also fine. Whatever you can get, as long as you have at least 1 in Remnant and at least +3 in Wrath, that is the most optimal you can get. My passives aren't that good, but this is what the build is based around. We are wanting to use fractures as much as possible to activate our Face Slam anointment, which gives us weapon damage 300%, and if we get the Blessed Orb, that's another 150% gun damage. Now, these two this anointment and this ability is what our entire build is based around, and our skill tree is going to reflect that. Now, start off in the green tree just because it's the shortest, because we don't want to go too far into it. We just want to get far enough to be able to use Fracture. Now, Fracture is a weaker version, quote unquote weaker version of Face Cast. Instead of using Face Cast 250, I wanted to use Face Slam because it's an extra 50% gun damage, which could be negligible, but I wanted to max out, pretty much min-max as much gun damage as we possibly could. And Fracture has the exact same cooldown, does more damage, it just doesn't go out as far as Face Cast, and it takes a little bit longer to activate. But I think those trade-offs are well worth it in the long run, simply because you get more damage, and you get more damage with your action skill and with weapon damage. It's not that big of a difference. I'm not 100% sure why people like Face Cast more. Maybe there's a little bit difference in the way that the anointment works that I don't know about. As far as I know, there is no reason not to use Fracture and the 300% Face Slam over the Face Cast. So we're going to run through this really quick. Personal space, 50% up close. More health. Arms deal. If you want to move some points from the blue tree over here to max this out to 5 out of 5, you are more than welcome to. This will help boost your Remnant damage and help make sure you get those one-shot Remnant kills, or your Remnant Orb just does as much damage as possible. I have 3 out of 3 into Samsara because when you're mobbing, it's not difficult at all to get 5 stacks for that additional 25% gun damage. I have nothing in Purple Tree, but again, I have like 8 extra points into this tree. If you want to move 5 of them over here to Heavy Rain, you're more than welcome to. I simply do not, because I like using the Unkempt Herald and causing those projectiles to split a lot farther down really hurts the usage of that pistol. So I personally don't run it. Now, the blue tree, pretty standard. We don't have much movement speed. So I have Fast Hands and Alacrity both maxed out, and Awakening, because the 30% rush stack effectiveness really helps your reload speed, especially with weapons like the Hellwalker or the DNA, where it is almost instantly, it feels like, how fast you end up reloading. Increased fire rate, increased gun damage, do harm for bonus action skill damage to help kill enemies to proc your Remnant Orb. That's the general gist of this. Everything else is pretty basic. We're not running Berserker most of the time, so we will have Restless to help bring back our Fracture. Now, for the red tree, pretty standard. I did go all the way to the bottom just to add more gun damage, kind of. Yes, it's bonus elemental damage, but it adds on to our gun damage. So that's why I have red tree maxed out. A couple choice picks here. Anima, if you want to move these 3 points into wildfire, you are more than welcome to. The only reason I didn't is because I have my guardian rank turned off. The game is more fun and more challenging, so I leave it off except for true takedowns and stuff like that. Otherwise, I try and make my builds as viable as possible without the use of guardian rank. I think that builds that don't use a guardian rank skill are more effective and better, because if you turn them on and your build is already viable without them, they're overkill. And a lot of people like that, so that's why I practice and build around having it off. Wildfire doesn't really help that much because status effect damage late game isn't super high. So if you want to switch out some of the guns for consecutive hits, which will drop down your gun damage by about 200%, so I don't recommend it, you can use this and your consecutive hit anointment will pretty much always hit 100 almost as soon as you pull it out. So that is an option. I have 3 points here because you need it to move down the tree to get down to these points here. 1 point to sustainment to keep our health up. 4 points into conflicts just because stacking status effects does more damage than spreading status effects between multiple characters. And I think this is better than Catharsis. We're not running Phase Grass, so this does nothing, and we are not benefiting at all from melee damage. If you want to move 2 points from here to make 5 out of 5 in Anima, you are more than welcome to. That is a completely viable option. Anima buffs status effect damage and duration on yourself also. So if you get a status effect put on you or you blow up a barrel next to you, it will do a lot of damage. So I try and stray away from this. And even if you keep your guardian rank off and don't want to worry as much about barrels, move it on over to wildfire or conflicts. That is, at least you'd have to move them over to wildfire to get down here. So that's my reasoning behind that. And that's our full skill tree. I kind of just want to go through this fast and not waste your guys' time. Now, for the weapons, this is what I would say you should run the majority of the time. If you prefer light shows and unkempt heralds, go ahead and switch those out. For the Hellwalker, go ahead and switch it out. All these guns work fantastically with the way that this build is set up. This is just my preferred setup. The DNA, if you've never used it before, might take you some time to adjust to with its slow projectile speed, but that is a trade-off for the massive amounts of damage that this does. Rowan's Call, critical hits plus indiscriminate equals just death for everything. So highly recommend this. I have light shows and unkempt heralds of the majority of elements, if not all of them. If one weapon doesn't have that element, the other one should. So we do have that. Hellshock, Maggie, Gibbsworth, good for mobbing. I don't recommend it for bossing though. EMP5 to help with movement speed because, like I said, we don't have that much movement speed. So I have this here to help out with that. Needle Gun with the Cartels event and the recent buff to it. This thing is insanely strong. I have Lucian's Calls and Soul Renders equipped just because I like these weapons. So I have put on a bunch of weapons that I like and I think work well. Now, the OPQ system, everyone knows this gun. Everyone knows how good this gun is. What a lot of people don't know is the alternative firing mode where you shoot out a drone. It's not technically a drone. In the code, it's counted as a bullet. So if you use your fracture and have your blessed orb up and then you shoot out the drone, it's going to have 450% bonus weapon damage the entire time that it is out, or maybe only until you have those effects worn off. So that'll boost this damage a bunch on top of all the other skills that we have turned on at that time. I have Monarchs, Breath of the Dying, if you want to one-shot Wotan or the Kraken or anything, that is equipped. Same with the Chaos. Not as strong, but I believe it causes explosions when you kill an enemy with it. And it's a pretty decent AR, so I have that on. No pew pew, everyone knows that this thing is a monster. The Becca, because we're getting a bunch of bonus gun damage, so elemental damage, this thing works really well. And plus, since we recently had the buff, this thing is really helpful. More Monarchs and more Rowan's Calls. Guardian Angel I have equipped because I know a lot of people like using it, and it's really hard to do raid bossing. So I have this equipped if you want to swap over to it, like shoot the yellow cake and swap over to it, or shoot the DNA, swap over to it, whatever. You get the gist of it, and most of you guys understand why this is included. Hellwalker for one-shotting, yellow cake, just one-shotting mobs, and Ionic Disruptor for sniping because it is fun. Now moving on to shields. I don't like the Revolter shield, but as this is meant to do as much gun damage as possible, I do have it included. This build is completely viable without it. That was another goal for me, is I did not want to depend on the Revolter shield. So I do have it included. It does nothing but benefit you, but if you're sick of it, like you are the B shield from Borderlands 2, I have plus ultras included for the action skill cooldown rate, and Old God for survivability bonus elemental damage. Like I said, the main for this is going to be the Death Blessing. Now, for bossing or maximum damage, you might want to switch this out for the Phaserker. You'll be able to use your Fracture more, which means you'll be able to have your Anointment out more and longer. So if you want to switch that over to this, or going up against bosses, since they're not going to have ads around to get you the buff, I would switch over to this and the Revolter shield, and that'll probably give you the highest possible damage. But this I find more fun and is still completely viable. Grenades, I have P grenades of every ASC. I believe I don't have, I do have cryo. Okay, so yes, I do have them all. And I have a fish slap included. If you want a fish slap, Guardian Angel, swap, go right ahead. We don't have any bonuses to melee damage, so I'm not sure how well that'll work out. And for the artifact, we have a Snowdrift for movement speed, since we don't have much of that. But I have a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge included, so you also have more, just like I said, more gun damage, just trying to absolutely maximize and get every last drop of gun damage we can possibly get. And that's all I have for the build. At the end of this video, I'm going to include a Wotan fight with the Revolter Shield Phaserker, and one without the Revolter Shield and using the Death Blessing. So that'll be after this, but that's all I have for you guys for today. If you guys enjoyed the build, please leave a like down below and show me your support. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below if you guys want to see another Amara build or a Flak build. I have ideas for both. It's just getting the gear ready and getting the video made and out to you guys. I'm working on getting my Zane up to level 72, and I've started a Moze build, which I'm working on getting up now, and I should start uploading builds on all characters, some of them niche, some of them all around just viable. So if you guys are excited to see that, leave a like, subscribe to keep up with all my uploads, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.